Good morning, everyone. My name is Kim Mabon, and I am the board chair for the Corona Chamber of Commerce and owner of Creative by Design. Today is a great day with some important updates ahead, and we appreciate you taking your time to join us today. I'll be sharing the agenda with our 2020 board chair, Don Williamson. Donnie?
Good morning, everyone. Today's phone call is sponsored by Holstrom Block and Park. Holstrom Block and Park is a professional law corporation who provides services in family law, estate planning, and appellate law. They are always committed to securing the greatest possible outcome for you. One of the hallmarks of their practice is their level of service. They take the time to listen to your concerns and treat you like a person, not a case number. Thank you, Holstrom, for sponsoring this meeting and for supporting the Corona Chamber of Commerce. Kim.
Thank you, Don. A reminder to please use the chat button to ask any questions. Send your questions to the chamber host and we will verbally ask them at the appropriate time. Please welcome our President and CEO, Bobby Spiegel.
Thank you so much, Kim. I so appreciate you allowing us the opportunity to do this meeting. What I'd like to do for the next couple minutes is just share our 90-day snapshot of what we've got going and the many resources available for each of you to plug into. The Chamber will be bringing various leaders to our different events so that you can engage with them. I'm going to start with on Monday, June 14th, we have Conrad Padilla, who is our invited guest speaker as the Entrepreneur of the Month. And what he will be doing is sharing his history and his knowledge of what he's done, the struggles, the ups and downs, and allowing tidbits for you to take away and walk away with that day. Conrad is a co-founder of Hustle Media Group. He started his entrepreneurial business at his journey at the age of 12 when he created his own lawn mowing business. And then he also was involved for a while with Dean Witter, Morgan Stanley, then UBS in the Wall Street arena for 14 years. He's built many different businesses. He's worked with all sizes of businesses, and he's a tremendous individual. You will want to plug in. In fact, I encourage you after today's call, go ahead and log on to the bit.ly/coffee June 14th. And that is a free seminar through a partnership with the City of Corona and the Corona Chamber of Commerce. I did want to share about our upcoming mega mixer that is this coming week, this next week on the 17th, and it will be over at the Storm Stadium in Lake Elsinore. We have some limited exhibitor tables that remain, but you do need to connect today with Desiree Ramirez at our chamber. Her email is desiree@mychamber.org, or put it into the chat and we can outreach to you right away. There are hundreds of people expected to attend. This is a completely fun event that is done with multiple chambers involved. So come on down and participate on June 17th. If you don't want to get a booth, come as a participant and it'll be a lot of fun. On Friday, June 25th is our Good Morning Corona breakfast, and that will feature our mayor, Jackie Casillas. She will be doing the business version of the State of the City, and she's got a lot of great information of businesses and different things going on. And her slogan there, "We're open for business," is going to be a great, great story to be shared. We'd love for you to be there in person. We will also have it remotely if you want to do a virtual option. Someone once asked me, is it important for me to attend in person? I'm going to relate it to Disneyland. If you've ever ridden the Matterhorn, would you like to ride the Matterhorn, or would you like to watch it on a big screen at your home? So we encourage you to be in person. Register for either way at bit.ly/GMC June 2021. On July 1st, we will host our own mixer, and that will be from 5 to 7 at the Staybridge Suites. Great opportunity for you to meet our local businesses and kind of mingle around, and it's going to be a great time. It's $10 only for members right now, $20 for anyone that is a prospective member. If you would like to display some of your wares or products and services and have a table there, connect with Desiree. The bit.ly here is bit.ly/CCS July 1. And again, connect with Desiree for any table requests. In July, on Thursday, July 22nd, we have our Economic Summit, the Economic forecast is being put on by our speaker is Dr. Chris Thornburg, tremendous economist and has some great information. We're very honored and privileged to have United Paving as our presenting sponsor. This is a 4-chamber event. So we have 2 chambers from Orange County. That is the Brea Chamber and the Yorba Linda Chamber, as well as the Chino Valley Chamber that have partnered with us. That bit.ly is able for you to go on is bit.ly/Econ Forecast July 22nd. And with that, I do want to just talk to you real quick about something that's happening through today. And I'm going to introduce Stephanie Shapiro right now. She's going to take it for this part.
Thank you, Bobby. I also loved your analogy of riding the Matterhorn versus watching it on TV. That was great. So we have something really exciting going on. It is today only. We have a buy it now and a flash sale. Here at the Chamber, we have been lucky enough to come into a lot of really great items that we want to share with the community. So if you are a sports fan or you like to collect memorabilia, you can see one of the items up for grabs right now on your screen. It is a signed NFL football helmet by 25 legends. I mean, we're talking across the entire league. You have retired and current players, all the greats. If you're a basketball fan, we've got tons of Lakers stuff from Kobe Bryant, autographed pictures to an autographed trophy from who is it? Magic Johnson. We've got a Michael Jordan Bulls jersey signed, all sorts of really cool stuff. If you are planning on taking a trip this summer, because we know everybody's vacations were canceled last year, we've got getaways to Mexico and to Scottsdale. Some really, really cool stuff. Like I said, it's today only. Anthony is going to put a PDF in the chat today so you can take a look at what is available. And hopefully we get a chance to see you here in our office when you're picking up an Eagles guitar or something real cool for your business or your family. Thanks so much. Back to you, Bobby.
Thank you, Stephanie, so much. And I so appreciate that. It's a lot of fun. I did want to just close out my comments with about advocacy, and that is a huge part of what we do here at the Chamber. And we work together as a team, and we're so honored to have Jeff Gibson, that is our advocate research person, the expert in this. He goes through and does all the heavy lifting when it comes to researching the various bills. But before I turn it back over to Kim, I also wanted to acknowledge that a former state assembly member, former mayor of the city of Corona, and a businessman for over 40 years is our chair for our advocacy outreach, and that is Jeff Miller. And it is such an honor to have him play such a vital part for our chamber and for the business community. Jeff Miller has worked with both sides of the aisle. He is very different than many of the elected officials. He is one of the few that sign both sides of a check. He understands what you go through as a small business owner, as a large business owner. He's worked with all different types of businesses. So I just put the plug in now for our advocacy outreach. That is a huge part of what we do. And if you want to get more information on that, please connect with me directly. We'd love to engage with you. With that being said, I'm open for any questions, and I'll turn it back over to you, Kim. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Bobby. Anthony, do we have any questions regarding these events or information?
There are no questions.
Okay, then I will turn it to Don.
Thank you, Kim. As part of our Chamber's advocacy outreach, these weekly meetings, these calls, focus on relevant topics to you, our membership. Our business briefings are held to educate and empower our members. And if you happen to be on this call but are still not a member of the Chamber, or if you know a neighboring business that would find membership beneficial, please connect with our membership specialist, Robert Yanez, to become part of our Chamber family. Meetings like these are just one of the many benefits to being a part of an active, vibrant Chamber of Commerce, which we are, in a thriving community like Corona. We serve a regional landscape. We're not bound by any boundaries or geographical limits. So everyone on this call, most people we do business with and know, most of them are eligible and would benefit from membership. So please outreach to Robert so he can review the many incentives for both joining and referring businesses to join. Our Chamber is growing, and we invite you to help us make a larger impact. The more members we have, the more our influence, and the more we are able to help each other. Thank you. Kim, back to you.
Thank you, Donnie. At this time, we will shift to our advocacy segment, where our legislative advocate, Jeff Gibson, will share. Keeping a pulse on what's happening in Sacramento and Washington, D.C. can be a full-time job. With Jeff Gibson's thorough and complete research, he helps the Corona Chamber to act timely on projects and initiatives that help make a difference in shaping our community. As owner of Occidental Communications Group, Jeff Gibson takes a 40,000-foot view on most of the proposed bills, then dissects them to our level and how we as business owners and managers will be impacted by the proposed bills. His knowledge of complex political issues and the great relationships he has built ensure that the Corona Chamber has all the tools to be effective on behalf of the business community. Please help me welcome Jeff Gibson to share a legislative update.
Good morning, everyone. I appreciate that introduction and as we get every week. So I appreciate that greatly. I come to you today with two important pieces of legislation that we were actually able to work and get stalled. That's called stalling. Most times it's referred to as defeat, but every piece of legislation, every idea in the legislature is active until the close of the legislature in September. So at any point, these bills can come back, but they cannot come back in their current form. The two of them are AB 650 by Assemblymember Muratsuchi from Torrance. And that was going to, as you may remember, we opposed this back in the early part of the legislative session. It was one of the first bills that we opposed. Would have imposed $6 billion, actually over $6 billion, about $6.5 billion in bonuses that would be paid by private healthcare employers to their employees for serving during the C-19 pandemic. The problem with that, obviously, is that almost every single employer has already paid pandemic wages, has paid combat pay, has gone above and beyond. We at the Chamber here have sponsored special events. We've been very, very happy to do all of that. So coming along and saying that hospitals, many of which are always and nearly permanently constrained by other problems within the healthcare industry that we can all speak to, would have to pay $6.5 billion in bonuses. It was a big victory to have the author put that on what's known as the inactive file. As Assemblymember Miller, retired Assemblymember Miller, our chair could attest to, that's a nice thing to have, but at any point it can be amended into another bill. So we're monitoring it very closely. The second bill that we've had similar success with is AB 1119 by Bunny Wicks of Berkeley, Assemblymember Wicks of a Democrat from Berkeley. I know it's a surprise to have a member of the majority party from Berkeley, but they do get elected there every once in a while. Would have added a whole new level of responsibility to employers for following the Fair Employment and Housing Act. Now, those protections against discrimination are specific to race, ethnicity, and a number of different categories that we as a society have all agreed on. They're almost always very easy to see when you're dealing with someone in your business, either as an employee or someone that you would be working with, a partner, for instance, and they are immutable. They do not change quickly. Well, this was going to add family responsibility, which oftentimes is private and something that you cannot, as an employer, track. And then sometimes you're constrained from tracking. So this was going to be a big shift, and was something that we were working very hard to explain and defeat. We've defeated it so far. And now we're into a period of time where you can see under how you can help. The first is trust but verify. So we're going to still be tracking these bills on a daily and weekly basis so that we can make sure that they remain dead. walk through that. And then also you can reach out to your legislators and continue to explain what you're facing in terms of historically high taxes and regulations, and how important it is to have their support. So so a little bit of good news, and then on to the second slide, which are that the employment numbers, unfortunately, disappointed again in May. If you remember, in April, as a nation, we missed our employment numbers. March, April, May, and June were all supposed to produce more than 1 million jobs, bringing us right back to where we were as a nation employment-wise before the start of the pandemic. Unfortunately, though, what has happened is that March ended up being about 300,000 jobs. April ended up being about 266,000 jobs, and May has produced less than 600,000 jobs. So that produces where we were supposed to be producing about 4 million jobs, we've produced about 1 million jobs. So obviously that's going to be a major, major challenge for us. So as a state, the state of California, for instance, in March and May, produced about 40% of the jobs in the country, which seems like it's a very good number, but our unemployment rate actually stayed steady, and in fact is still 2.5 points higher than the rest of the country. And so we dug in a little bit deeper so that you could understand why these unemployment numbers are so high. And the first is California, as of this morning, is one of a minority of states that is keeping the additional subsidies on the unemployment benefits. So in a number of categories, if you're earning less than $18 to $19 an hour, you are actually making more on unemployment than you would be if you were in the workforce. So we're only, as you can see, in the number of people returning to the workforce out of a state of 37 million people, the workforce only between March and April went up by only 33,000 people. So very few people are re-entering the workforce. On top of that, you can also see that the employment numbers, the permanent employment numbers went up only went up by about 36,000. So again, in the state of nearly 40 million, we actually, between the people entering the workforce, reporting themselves as available for work, and reporting themselves as available for unemployment benefits, that went up by 33,600. New jobs, or net jobs, went up by about 36,800. So while as a percentage, several economists are saying that California is leading the way for the nation, and to a certain degree that is true. When you're looking at the overall health of where we should be as a nation and as a state, if you are outside the southern region of the United States or the Intermountain West, not including Colorado, you're looking at being in the lowest half. And unfortunately, we are in the middle of the lowest half, as you can see from these unemployment claim numbers in our first 3 points. The first point, new unemployment claims are 114.56% higher now than they were in May 2019. Obviously, you don't want to compare it to May 2020 because that was in the midst of the disruption. And that comparison puts us at 25th biggest in the country, according to the National Department of Labor. New weekly unemployment claims rose 103.23% since the start of 2020. So you're looking at us having the 14th weakest employment market in the country per capita. And then the weekly drop in unemployment claims stood at 67.37%, again, the 21st highest in the nation. So, and you can see on the bottom, the unemployment rate, we still stand 2.2 or about 25% higher on unemployment as a state than the rest of the nation. And that really will be going forward as the governor has announced that while the state will be able to remove most of our rules on social distancing and some of our rules on the capacity of businesses, for the most part, masks are going to stay in place. Mask rules are going to stay in place here in California. So that would indicate that we're probably looking at a longer recovery than most of the rest of the nation. So in any case, I've seen a couple questions come in, and happy to take those and discuss from there. So.
Thank you, Jeff. Anthony, do we have questions for Jeff?
We have a few questions. Most of them revolve around a trip to Sacramento. So the question is, with the reopening, can the chamber coordinate a trip to Sacramento in September?
So in September, the legislature is out of session, and so there would be no one to meet with. And the legislature is not currently does not have plans to let anyone in the building, in the Capitol building. So that's kind of where that stands. And we play by their rules. So that's kind of where that is right now.
Thank you, Jeff. One other question that we just got in is, could you give updated information on AB 1372 and SB 2 when possible, maybe next week? Jeff Newman discussed this when he presented here.
So SB 2 has passed the state Senate. It has also picked up the co-authorship of the Senate President Pro Tem. And for everybody that was interested or was on the call with Chief Newman, if you remember, he discussed this. SB 2 is basically the California version of defunding the police. And while leaving the funding issue to local cities, many of which who went through a defunding discussion and actually defunded, are actually refunding the police because you're looking at murder rates across the state of California exploding. I don't know if anyone saw, but a LA city councilman who was having a regular meeting was attacked with a butcher knife the other day on the Venice boardwalk by someone who would have otherwise been in a state prison. So as communities went through a year of defunding the police and going through that, and now they're finding out that yes, indeed, the police are doing a very good job and need the support. The state of California has decided that what each city needs is a state mandated community citizen board that would review every single police incident and allow residents to step forward and say, well, I didn't have a police incident, but I was headed to work and there was a police, there was a felony stop at Maine in the 91 freeway that delayed me by 30 minutes. And so I was going to go meet my attorney to file a civil rights claim against someone else. And so you stood in the way of me filing that claim, and therefore you owe me damages. That is almost directly one of the examples that was used to have the bill move out of the Senate and over to the Assembly. So that bill is moving. It has picked up major support from the arguably the one of the two most powerful legislators in the state legislature. So it is very unlikely that unless something happens, we are opposed to it, and we are working with our law enforcement on that because there are hundreds, and you guys always have to remind yourself, you live in California in 2021. There are hundreds of laws on the books. We are not like any other state. There are hundreds of laws on the books that allow for bad police to be removed. In almost every survey on police, what you would consider as a bad stop or a interaction rank literally less than 0.2 to 0.3% of all interaction. And in the state of California, we have post certification from the state. We have post certification locally. It is very easy to handle those issues. Putting on top of that a community advisory group on which law enforcement will not sit, so that you have people who a day later, 2 days later, 3 days later, a month and a half later, 6 months later, can look at all of the facts on the ground, many of which weren't clear at the time, and second guess a police officer to the point where they can remove them, even if there wasn't an incident that could be found at the time. So this isn't someone who has a bad arrest. It's just an interaction. It's a very, very difficult bill. It is the way that I would put that. If you're interested in law enforcement as it currently is, and it is moving forward. AB 1372, I'll have to get back and look at. I appreciate that, Jason, and I'll follow through on the former council member's request.
Okay, and then one more question. If we understood your statement correctly, the state level mask requirements and restrictions will be remaining in place after June 15th. Could you clarify on that, please?
I would love to, but the governor hasn't clarified it yet. He has clarified. So in his announcement, he walked through a number of what reopening the state meant, and reopening the state indicated that there was permissiveness on who and where you could wear your masks. That would be expanded on June 15th. And then in comments over the last 3 to 4 days, he's indicated that that permissiveness might be limited. And so we're monitoring it for you. And as he defines it, we will define it. So, yep. And then there was a question from Leah Peterson from Southern California Gas on a Washington, D.C. legislative trip this year. And again, the difficulty of meeting or touring, all tours have been canceled, and all access onto Capitol Hill has been severely limited. So we're monitoring that. If that changes, that is up to the Speaker of the House and the President Pro Tem of the Senate, and on Capitol Hill access. And so currently they're not allowing any access to any of the offices. So, but in any case, that's where we are right now.
Thank you, Jeff. There are no further questions.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jeff. We'd also like to thank the following people who are on the call today. Jeff Miller, former Assembly member and former mayor of Corona. Also former mayor and citizen of the year, Jason Scott. We also have Omar Sohail representing State Assembly Member Cervantes, and Wendell Bugtie representing Supervisor Karen Spiegel. We also have Jessica Gonzalez with the City of Corona Economic Development, and Dr. Monica Green, President of Norco College, as well as all of our board members and special VIPs. Each of you who I didn't individually mention, thank you for joining us today. All right. If at any time you'd like to reach out to your local representatives regarding any of these bills and continue to tell them how you feel about some of the proposed legislation, the information is on the screen at this time. Donnie.
Once again, we'd like to thank today's sponsor, Holstrom Block and Park. With 300 plus years combined experience, their lawyers pursue every available legal option to reach a positive outcome for their clients. They dedicate themselves to clear, honest communications. Whenever you have a concern, their firm is available to answer your questions and help you with your process. Learn more at hbplaw.com. Kim.
Thank you, Don. If you would like to sponsor a future business briefing, please contact the Chamber. Register now to join us next Wednesday for more advocacy news. Thank you for everyone for attending. Our meeting is adjourned.